The Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL, and there is about to be a new chapter added. Myles Garrett wants to put Aaron Rodgers in the graveyard. Last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers signed quarterback Aaron Rodgers. During the Browns' mini-camp on Tuesday, Cleveland Browns pass rusher Myles Garrett is already looking towards getting after the 41-year-old quarterback. Garrett was asked his thoughts on Rodgers entering the AFC North and said, "Good opportunity to put him in the graveyard." Browns edge rusher Myles Garrett on Aaron Rodgers joining the AFC North. Good opportunity to put him in the graveyard. Every year during Halloween, Garrett has names of quarterbacks on tombstones in his front yard, and since the Browns will be playing the Steelers twice, Rodgers' name will be on them. The Browns are in line to have a rough season, so if Garrett can get after Rodgers a few times and beat the Steelers, that will give some Browns fans hope in a season where they might win only 3 to 4 games. On the day, one future first-ballot Hall of Famer made his debut in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. Another such transcendent player made similarly big news by not showing up at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. Outside linebacker TJ was absent from the first day of mandatory minicamp Tuesday. Entering the final year of his contract, the move is an apparent act of expressing displeasure with progress toward a contract extension. But while that drama figures to play out in the coming weeks and months, on the day 4-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers first practiced with his new teammates, the Steelers largely downplayed that their 5-time team MVP was absent. "Certainly, we would like him to be here," Coach Mike Tomlin said, "but certainly not surprised by where we are. We have expressed a desire to get the business done. He has as well. And so we will continue to work. We've been here before." Before, in this case, is 2021, when a lengthy negotiation, coming at the end of what's rookie contract, saw him not taking part in team drills at that summer's minicamp or training camp. What ultimately signed a 4-year, $112 million deal that at the time made him the NFL's highest-paid defensive player. But 4 years ago, what was present for all mandatory team practices, pulling off what was then a novel concept of a hold-in. Not showing up at all is akin to a more traditional holdout. "We're going to keep preparing and moving ahead," Steelers defensive coordinator Teryl Austin said. "We expect him back at some point. He'll get caught up fast. He'll be in great shape like he always is. I think it's a great opportunity for young guys to get more reps and see what they can do on good competition." What is scheduled to make $21.05 million this season and account for a salary cap hit of $30.42 million. The cash is not guaranteed, but the Steelers could lower the 2025 salary cap hit with a structured extension. The Steelers are known to have extended an offer to what, but the market for player salaries, particularly on defense and even more so at edge rusher, has exploded this offseason. The player most considered what's contemporary, Myles Garrett, signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with the Cleveland Browns that included $123.6 million in guarantees. Garrett got the deal after publicly requesting a trade, spurring fears what might play a form of hardball with the Steelers. Still, teammates and coaches said they have been communicating with what over the summer. "This whole team would love to have 90 here," What's backup at outside linebacker Nick Herbig said, referencing Watt's uniform number. "He's a heartbeat, a Pittsburgh Steeler through and through. I'd love to see him over there, chop it up with him and talk crap, but like every day, I'm going to prepare to be a starter whether it's now, 2 years or 11 weeks. Just stay ready." In Watt's stead, Herbig fills in as the starter at left outside linebacker opposite Alex Highsmith. Rookie Jack Sawyer will have a chance to run with Jeremiah Moon, Iku Leota, and Julius Welshoff. It's such a good opportunity for all those guys just to be able to put their work on display and show all that they've been working on throughout the offseason, outside linebackers coach Denzel Martin said. Mini-camp extends Tuesday through Thursday before team personnel scatter for a 5-week hiatus before training camp. The Steelers, by terms of the collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and its players' union, can fine Watt more than $100,000 if he does not show up at all this week, $17,462 for the first day, $34,925 for day 2, and $52,381 for day 3. The Steelers haven't had a player sit out training camp since running back Le'Veon Bell, who in 2018 and 2017 was not required to be there because he had not yet signed his franchise player contract tender. What joined Cincinnati Bengals star Trey Hendrickson as edge defenders skipping mandatory minicamp because of apparent reasons related to a contract extension. The Steelers, though, at this point are unconcerned that they are missing anything because of Watt's absence. Nothing really, Martin said. Because we know what he's doing. That guy is working right now as we're talking. We don't really have to worry about that with him. When he gets here, we know he will be ready. The Pittsburgh Steelers spent the majority of their offseason getting linked to legendary quarterback Aaron Rodgers in free agency. Sure enough, they finally managed to sign him to a new deal last week, agreeing to terms on a one-year, $13.65 million deal that will make him their starting quarterback for at least the 2025 season. While Rodgers appears to be a temporary stopgap at the quarterback position, Pittsburgh still needs to work on finding their quarterback of the future. With that in mind, could the team potentially explore a trade with the Cleveland Browns that would see them acquire a quarterback they just passed on several times during the 2025 NFL Draft? Let's take a closer look at this trade pitch that would bring Shedeur Sanders to town. Steelers Shedeur Sanders trade pitch. Sanders entered the 2025 draft with expectations of being a first-round pick. Instead, he fell all the way to the 5th round, where the Browns eventually traded up to select him with a number 144 pick. Sanders finds himself in a quarterback room consisting of Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, who was selected by the team in the 3rd round of the draft. With Watson re-rupturing his Achilles back in January, Cleveland's starting quarterback job is wide open. Sanders has reportedly impressed Browns coaches early on, and he appears to have as good of a shot as everyone else at becoming the Week 1 starter. However, it's worth noting that there's a bit of a logjam at the position. Given that they selected Gabriel before Sanders, it's clear that Cleveland believes more in the former Oregon Ducks passer to become their quarterback of the future. That could lead them to capitalize off of the positive buzz surrounding Sanders and attempt to move him to a team like the Steelers that has a weaker quarterback depth chart. Behind Rodgers, Pittsburgh has Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson. The problem is that if Rodgers gets injured or regresses, the Steelers don't really have anywhere to turn, which could make them a landing spot for Sanders in a potential trade, even though they passed on him just over a month ago in the draft. The Browns would happily take a 2026 third-round pick in exchange for Sanders, considering they just used a 5th-rounder on him in April. Would Steelers, Browns be interested in this Shedeur Sanders trade? The concept of Cleveland trading Sanders is admittedly a bit far-fetched since they only drafted him back in April. However, if they get a 3rd-round pick like Pittsburgh is tentatively offering here, why wouldn't they accept this trade? They have another rookie in Gabriel at their disposal, and they would essentially be flipping a 5th-round pick for a 3rd-round pick. On the other side of things, the deal makes less sense for the Steelers. They had every opportunity to draft Sanders, but they didn't, as they instead waited until the 6th round to select Howard. Sanders is a 1st-round talent in some evaluators' eyes, which could make giving up a 3rd-round pick for him a steal, but with Rodgers on board, there isn't an immediate need for Sanders, which makes this deal unlikely to happen.